What's up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, continuing our work on Lucky Luciano, the big block turbo Plymouth Duster. Let's get into it. Alright, so I don't know if you guys remember, but whenever we got it running and we ran a whole bunch off video, the car always had kind of like a little pop. We don't know what it was. It's kind of like popcorn. Here, I'll put in a clip right here. So now, of course we did it all off video, but we went ahead and ran the valves. And we also did some rotor phasing. If you don't know what rotor phasing is we put an adjustable rotor in here and basically just cut a hole in our distributor cap, and you can move the rotor relative to the terminals, and adjust it a little bit, ran the valves, and now it runs beautifully. It's awesome. Of course, I didn't get none of that on video, but we got that going for us. So before the end of the video, I'll crank it up, and we're still tuning on it, trying to take a whole bunch of fuel out of it. We can't run it very, very long each time because we still don't have the radiator set up. We're still waiting on parts to come in. So, got that for us. Up next is something I've been dreading doing. As you see, the trunk is completely empty. Even the back panels are off. They're all laying around everywhere, so all the wiring's exposed. Took the fuel cell out. So we did put these trunk hinges on, and we're about to set the trunk up there. I'm gonna get my big 250-pound ass, butt in here. I'm probably gonna wipe it down first. Just vacuumed it. I need to wipe it down. I'm gonna get in here. My dad, thank him for all of his help. He's gonna set the trunk lid on about where it needs to go, and I'm gonna mark where brackets need to be. So we got that going for us. So first I'm gonna go ahead and wipe all this stuff down, and then we'll get to it. I mean, we're not going for perfection here. We're just trying to get off the big chunks. All right, that'd do well enough for me to get in here and, you know, just lay down and mark it all out. Woohoo! All right, so I have no idea where we left off last time. Trunk hinges didn't work out. Yeah, I don't know what to say. They should have been deeper down in there. Whenever I raised the trunk, it would only raise it about 5 inches. So we got all the latches to work. So that's cool. Then we decided to kind of adjust the pinion angle a little bit. Got the wheels back on it. And yeah, y'all remember I put those new springs on? Holy shit. Yep. This ain't going to work like this. Now, I don't know if y'all can put this in comparison. That's low. That's dirt nasty low. Wait, that's the oil pan. That's not gonna work. Like, okay, I'm only 6 foot, but it's 4 inches from my kneecap. This is the top of the fender. That's not gonna work. So, what we're gonna have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're gonna have to raise her up about 1.5 inches, which is fine because I know the video doesn't do it justice. That's stupid low. The back end's going to need to come down about 3. I wish we could keep it like that and just drop the back end 3 inches, but front end's got to come up about 1.5 inches. Back end's got to come down about 2, and we should be somewhere. All right, guys. No idea where we left off. We're trying to. I'm not doing a good job videoing. We're trying to. Not next weekend, but the weekend after that is when we're trying to make some test passes. So we've been busting butt, trying to get it right. So I don't know. The trunk hinges didn't work. I had them in the wrong spot. Anyway, we got 3 buttons on each side. It ain't going nowhere. Trunk lid's a little bit warped. It was way out here. Already heat gunned it and brought it in a little bit. We're gonna have to do it maybe another time or two. Not a big deal. But the car is on the ground. Well, besides this one. What we're doing now is we got to raise the front of it. So right now that's full. The jack's full travel too, but that's the travel of it right there. You know what? I'll let it down for you one time because we're gonna have to figure out something else, and I'll let you see. Just she's low. I don't know if you can see it. You already know shop's a mess, but it's low in the front. Too low. This is how I know it's too low. That black you see right there, that's the oil pan. So she's gonna have to go up. I'd say probably about an inch. Nothing crazy. So we'll get her up in an inch, and then in the back we need to drop her down about an inch. But really, as you can see, also I went ahead one night. I was a couple nights ago. I went ahead and scrubbed all the paint off of there. Oops. Anyway, the shocks, the rear shocks. You see, we don't have a lot of travel down left. That's no bueno. Bueno? What? Excuse me. So we got to move the shocks down because we want all the travel down on those guys. Now, whoever built this car, my dad got this car in 1989. The guy who built it, for some reason, the shocks are on this side, so it makes it way more difficult than what it needs to be. But we never changed it because, well, then we'd have to redo the tin work in the trunk and all that stuff, and we just ain't feeling that. So, we need to, once we're done with the front, get the front where we want it. Then we're going to readjust the back shocks and get it to where, you know, I want it to sit just a little bit lower, you know, probably here or so, half an inch, maybe an inch. And then I want it to be able to squat at least 4 inches. I think I got 6 inches of travel, front and rear. So I want, you know, the front, I want an inch to be able to go down and the rest of it up. So those are 6 inch travels. And then we have 6 inch travels here. I want, you know, half an inch to be able to go that way and 5.5 inches down. And I think that would work great. But mechanically wise, we're waiting on our other T-bolt clamp because the one I got was, I ordered a 3.5 because I'm a dummy. That's a 4. And then we got to mount our catch can. It was back over there, but it's 100% going to hit the tire. We're going to put it up here on the frame. And really, guys, the radiator, which we got to figure out where that's going to live. And then I finally got the rest of the parts in. So we got this this fitting, and then this is going to be kind of like a swirl tank. So this is going to sit in the trunk, and we got that fitting in, and then that block off fitting. This is like an Amazon, just a 1 1/4 quart. We're going to fill it from there, and then it's just going to have a 1-inch hose down to the radiator, and then from the radiator up to the water pump is 16 AN all the way up. So we'll fill out the block through the top, you know, fill it up, and then we'll fill up this stuff in the trunk. You know, we only run water because that's all we can run. Can't ever drip antifreeze on a track, ever. Don't have antifreeze in your car, please, because if you start dripping antifreeze, track's down for a good while. So I'm gonna grab a block. We need to figure out a way to make a jack point in the front. I don't have a good jack point on the tubular K member. my oil pan is so close to it, you can't really get the jack on it. If you do get it up high, the jack's going to fall. So can't have that. And now we do have all this travel in the front, like we were supposed to be having. You can't jack up the frame rail to make it high. So every time we got to jack it up, the car is never going to be level. So we got to disconnect the anti-roll bar. I said something to Scott. He gave me a piece of 2x3 to weld onto the tubular K member. But I think we're going to just get a longer piece of 2x3 and run it across. I left the sway bar mounts on the K member. We're going to run it across that sway bar mount, and then we can also use that to hang weight off of if we need to. So I think that's what we're going to do. And I mean, it runs good. Everything's done. One last, my paint on my headers. It's not going to last. My fault. If you're going to paint stainless steel headers, you should probably scuff them. You know, what can you do? You live and you learn. Just like the windshield. You live and you learn. So, jack it up. Run the coilovers up at least another ½ inch. Maybe an inch. Probably an inch is where I'll start. And then once the front's done, we'll eyeball align it. Kind of give it a quick measure. And then we'll move on to the rear. Well, we'll set the rear up. And then we'll figure out where the trunk goes. Or the radiator. So, let's go.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a bed.
And down she goes. I don't think it moved any. Huh. Well, actually I think it did. I feel like this side's a lot higher. We're almost at cool bind. Now, I went from the 350s, 14-inch springs, to 212-inch springs. And, I still think they're maxed out. Let's see. Is that? Yeah, she's maxed. So we still need to go up quite a bit. Sweet. Alright, so as you see this shock, okay? And you see this shock, and it hasn't moved up any. So obviously the 250s are not going to work. I'm going to need to try to find 275 or 300s. Because that's up a lot, and it's just coil bind. So, I mean, I do got these 350s, and they worked well. I'm thinking, honestly, about just cutting off a coil on them. I don't know how frowned upon that would be, though. We'll see. I think these are 14s, though, and those are 12s. So if we cut 2 inches off of these, let's check. Now they're 12s. But, I mean, if we do cut a coil off of them. I'll consult with Dad. Dad went to go get a fitting for the brakes. We had the brakes all bled and everything. But I thought we had to bleed the master cylinder, which is weird because the master cylinder has already been bled. But it had a, the brakes were getting nice and good, and, you know, and then it'd sit for 3 or 4 minutes, and then it would lose all pressure in the master cylinder. But you pump the brakes up 3 or 4 times, brakes are great. Come to find out, the fitting that goes into the master cylinder, because it's a Mopar, it's got adapted down to 3/8. Apparently it's like a dual size, like it starts off as one and then it ends at another. I don't know. So the piece that's in there threads in. However, it's still, like when you press the pedal, we realize it's bleeding out, so that's not working. So anyway, he went to go get that fitting. When he comes back, we'll talk about cutting those coils and see if that'll work. Because they're too tall. They don't compress enough to allow the car to work. But they seem to be the right size. As far as, I could really use some 300s. Those are 350s. I don't know. I'll talk to him whenever he gets back. I'll keep you updated. Alright, so since Dad's been gone, I went ahead and drilled the hose for our trans dipstick. You know, just a simple bam, bam, bam. Just waiting on him to come back to help me put the bolts in. Went ahead and got our deck lid off, cut off the brackets. I never got around to fiberglassing them in. We just kind of epoxied them. So I just had to cut it and then kind of cut around the epoxy and then wiggled it. It came off. So now, these are some other holes for the same style, but there's one over there on that side. I'd already covered them up down here for different orientation of which I had them. So now I got 6, 3 on each side. That should hold it. It feels nice and sturdy. I'm gonna go ahead and fill these in. All I did was lay some, just some blue masking tape on the back, and then you fill this in with some, Bondo glass, and it's typically real smooth. And then, a little finishing putty on top, and then that's it. So go ahead and do that while we're still waiting on Dad. We also kind of been thinking about where I'm going to mount this this tank, and right now I'm thinking somewhere like here, but then the overflow's got to go right next to it. And then so I'm gonna have to come up with a bracket somehow, some way, because you don't want to mount it just on aluminum. But it's gonna have to actually be over here, because right here there's panels. So the back has a panel, and then there's a panel here that covers the taillight, so it's all aluminum. So it'll have to be on the other side of this. So basically I'll have to make a bracket from down here out of metal, hold that up, and then one to hold up our overflow for that guy too. So a lot to do still. Went ahead and we made our vent. So this just loops. It's got a rollover valve. Always make sure you have a rollover valve. Really need a new fuel cell. Once they start dipping down like that, you really need a new one. This one's just old, real old. But anyway, it comes, the line follows this frame rail all the way up to kind of around the bumper, just to breathe the atmosphere. And then obviously our return. Still got to cut those zip ties, but I always put a loop in them just to make sure, like, if any sploshing, like, I still got the foam in the fuel cell, so it doesn't aerate when it returns. But if it does, like, if it's full and it starts splashing, it won't, like, just splash right out of the overflow. Yeah. So I'm probably just gonna leave the brackets that I had made to go in there. For now, I need to take off all the stickers off the back glass. Parachute cables ran for the most part. Still got to come up with a way to secure the cable somewhere. So, funny story. My dad was helping me put the cable in. We still got to cut it and everything, but it's helping me. This is a safety pin. So, for some reason, I was holding the bag in to give enough slack to slide the cable in. He pulled out the safety pin. He didn't mean to, but he pulled it out, stabbed me with it while I was holding this. So then that caused my hand to jerk, and I'm sitting back here on this cooler. So then parachute popped me in the face. It's just one of those things. Anyway, still waiting on him to come back. I'll go ahead and mix up this this glass and get these 2 holes filled in. Alright, so we got our Bondo glass. Now, it typically comes with a blue hardener. We went ahead and used the orange hardener, so it turned out kind of orange. Went ahead and also, wherever the guy filled up the windshield wipers. I would never personally do this to a car, but the guy that had it before my dad in the 80s did that, you know, pro street deal. So he filled those up. And I went ahead and just skimmed over where the lead is. If you don't know, they put these like roofs and quarters and everything on. They like stitch weld them, and then the big gap that's always there, they just fill them with lead. And then same thing here, and then also up here is with lead. So I went ahead and skimmed those on each side and the windshield wipers where they patched those up. So we'll let that dry. And I don't know what else I can do. Trying to think of what else I can do waiting on him. Man, he's been gone for like an hour. Wonder if he's okay. I'm sure he is. I guess I'm gonna clean up those zip ties. That's about it. Everything else I kind of really need help with. I guess I'm gonna start working on that bracket. Let's do that. All right, guys. So this is the next day. I went ahead and I cut them, and you can already see the problem. They won't seat. Go figure. So I reached out to our buddy Scott Wood. I swear he comes in clutch on everything. These are 350s, but they're 10-inch, so that'll work. That'll drop the car. So I love that. But as you see, we gotta clean them up. But I don't care. He gave them to me, so thank you so much. So we're gonna go ahead and wire one of those things off, and we'll probably hit that. I don't know, either some silver or some black. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling when it comes time. All right, so we decided to go with black because we couldn't really get them that good looking. So we got Gavin over here. He's got a welding test tomorrow at school. He's about to weld with stick. Go ahead, get to welding. Weld, son. Weld, ya, son. So we cleaned up a brake rotor. Got him some. I think that's 3/32. Yeah. All right, so they're good and getting dry. Probably gonna give them another little bit, and then go ahead and replace the spring. As you see, the duster's already sitting up. So get the spring replaced. Throw the black springs on them. Like I said, these are 10-inch instead of 12-inch, but the 350s. So it's going to sit how it used to, minus 2 inches. It's going to be 2 inches down. So go ahead and pull this spring off. Y'all know how to do this by now if y'all have watched this channel for any kind of time. Super simple. Just release the spring all the way down, pull the shock up, that goes out. Pull the spring out. You threw the breaker. Alright, well, he's over there just welding away. Went to Harbor Freight earlier. Got this thing on sale for $9.99. I don't know if y'all know what I'm thinking, but here, I'll show you after I get it done. Alright, sorry the car's a mess inside. Whenever you do all that in the cowl area there, it kind of blows everything inside the car. Because, you know, it's got the big, whatever. Y'all get it. But if y'all can see, we should probably vacuum the car out. Went ahead and put an air chuck there. And now, we got that guy. So whenever I pull up to the lanes, I can set tire pressure. Woo! Ain't gonna lie. I seen BJ Copeland do that. And I realized he had the same air system as me. And I was like, oh yeah, definitely do that. So that's why I'd put all those weird fittings on there. It's because I knew stuff like that's coming. So, got that. That makes me excited. That's what I gotta do. I think the shocks are dry enough. Let's go ahead and put shocks on. Alright, so we got the new spring in. Let's put the wheel back on. Alright, out of breath. New coils are on. We got, now it don't look as cool, obviously, but it actually works now. So the wheel pan does have 3 3/4 of an inch of clearance, so I might drop it down about another 1/2 inch, but it looks way better, and the suspension actually works. So that's it on the front. I think we're gonna call it here. In the next video, we gotta redo the rear. We don't have hardly any downward travel, so the shock's got to come down. And then, yeah, just tidy up some stuff. And I'm hoping in about 2 weeks, we're going to let go of the button somewhere. Either Jackson or in Mexico. So, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you. I really do. You guys rock. Oh, still got to melt the catch can somewhere. Been trying to figure out what's a good spot. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.